You think discipline is about control. It's not. It's about becoming someone people can't ignore or stop. Right now, you're not dangerous. You're predictable. Soft routines, empty promises, delayed action, and deep down, you know it. You wake up with plans. But by night, nothing changes. Same habits, same excuses, same life. That's why nobody fears your potential. Because you don't use it. You don't need motivation. You need transformation. Real discipline creates something terrifying. A man who acts without hesitation. A mind that doesn't negotiate with weakness. A presence that shifts the energy in a room. That's dangerous. Not loud. Not emotional. But controlled, focused, relentless. And here's the truth most people won't say. You avoid discipline because it exposes you. It shows you how weak your habits are, how inconsistent you've been, how much time you've wasted. That realization, it's uncomfortable, so you distract yourself, scrolling, talking, planning, but never executing. And the longer you delay, the harder it becomes to face yourself. This is where most people break, not because life is hard, but because they refuse to become harder. Let me ask you something. What happens if you don't change? Nothing improves. Nothing evolves. Nothing respects you. You stay average, invisible, replaceable. That should bother you, because inside you, there's something dangerous trying to wake up. But it's buried under comfort, under laziness, under excuses you've repeated so often, they sound like truth. They're not. They're chains. And discipline is the weapon that breaks them. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Because every second you delay, someone else is building the life you keep imagining. They're not more talented than you. They're just more disciplined. And that difference changes everything. You don't rise by chance. You rise by structure. By doing what you said you would do, long after the feeling is gone. That's where power is built. Silently, daily, brutally. And once you build it, you don't need validation anymore. You become the standard. If this already hit you harder than expected, subscribe now. Comment discipline if you're done making excuses. Share this with someone who needs a wake-up. Because this isn't motivation. This is transformation. And most people won't survive it. Discipline doesn't start with action. It starts with identity. And the person you think you are right now is the reason you're stuck. Because you don't need improvement. You need destruction. You don't need a new routine. You need a new identity. Because the version of you right now is designed to stay the same. It protects comfort. It avoids pressure. It rejects discipline. That version must go. Not adjusted. Not improved. Destroyed. Marcus Aurelius wrote this. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Read that again. Because your life isn't controlled by circumstances. It's controlled by the identity interpreting them. And your identity is weak. Not because you're incapable, but because you've trained it that way. Every time you quit early, you told yourself, this is who I am. Every time you delayed, you reinforced that belief. Every time you avoided discomfort, you made weakness familiar. That's how identity is built. Not through words, through repetition. So if you want discipline, you don't chase it. You become the type of person who can't escape it. That starts here. You stop asking how you feel. You start asking what must be done. Feelings are unstable. Discipline is fixed. Seneca warned about this. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. You're not overwhelmed by work. You're overwhelmed by thinking about work. You're not tired from effort. You're tired from resistance. That resistance, it's your current identity fighting change. Good. That means you're close. Because transformation doesn't feel comfortable. Feels like loss. Loss of habits. Loss of excuses. Loss of who you used to be. And your mind will fight to protect it. It will tell you to wait, to rest, to delay. Ignore it. Because discipline is not built through negotiation. It's built through dominance. You dominate your impulses. You dominate your distractions. You dominate your environment, not once, but daily. That's how identity shifts. Slowly, then suddenly. First, it feels forced. You act disciplined, even when you don't feel like it. That's phase 1. Then something changes. The actions repeat. The resistance weakens. The identity starts adapting. That's phase 2. And then one day, you don't hesitate anymore. You just act. That's phase 3. That's when discipline becomes dangerous. Because now it's automatic. No motivation needed. No reminders required. Just execution. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." Most people reverse this. They act randomly and hope identity follows. It doesn't. Identity leads. Action follows. So define it. Right now. Not vaguely. Not emotionally. Precisely. You are someone who finishes. Someone who shows up. Someone who does not negotiate with weakness. That's your new standard. And standards are not suggestions. They are rules. Unbreakable. Non-negotiable. Because the moment you make exceptions, you return to your old self. That's the trap. One day won't matter. I'll start tomorrow. It's not that serious. That's how collapse begins. Not with failure, but with permission. So remove permission. Completely. There is no later. There is only now. There is only action. There is only execution. That's the mindset. Harsh? Yes. Effective? Absolutely. Because discipline doesn't care about comfort. Cares about results. And results come from consistency, not intensity. Consistency beats motivation. Every time. You don't need to do everything. You need to do something every single day, without exception. That's how identity locks in. Repetition creates belief. Belief creates behavior. Behavior creates reality. That's the cycle. Right now, your cycle is broken. You start strong, then disappear. You commit, then fade. That ends here. Because now you understand. Discipline isn't what you do. It's who you are. And who you are is under your control. Not your past. Not your environment. Not your circumstances. Just your choices. Daily. Relentless. Unforgiving choices. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. No excuses. No emotions. Just duty. That's the Stoic way. You do what is required, whether you feel like it or not, because feelings don't build anything. Action does. So the next time you hesitate, remember this. You are not tired. You are resisting growth. You are not stuck. You are undisciplined. You are not unlucky. You are inconsistent. That truth is sharp, but it's necessary, because comfort lies. Discipline reveals, and what it reveals will either break you or rebuild you. This is where most people fail. Not at the beginning, but in the middle, when the excitement fades, when nobody is watching, when results are invisible. That's where discipline is tested. Not when it's easy, but when it's boring. You don't rise in intensity. You fall to your systems. And if your system is weak, you collapse. That's why you need structure, not motivation. Structure removes decision fatigue. You don't ask, should I? You execute, I must. That's power. Epictetus taught this clearly. No man is free who is not master of himself. Freedom isn't doing whatever you want. Freedom is controlling what you do, even when you don't want to do it. Right now, you're not free. You're controlled by moods, controlled by distractions, controlled by comfort. That ends here, because discipline is control, total control, over your time, your actions, your focus, and control creates power. Not loud power, silent power, the kind people feel without you saying a word. You walk differently, you think differently, you operate differently, because now you're intentional. Nothing is random, nothing is wasted. Every move has purpose. That's dangerous, because most people drift. They wake up without direction, react instead of act, follow instead of lead. But you move with precision. Every day has a target. Every action has weight. And over time, that creates dominance. Not over others, over yourself. That's the real victory. Because once you control yourself, nothing external can control you. Not pressure, not fear, not failure. You adapt. You adjust. You continue. That's resilience. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." So stop avoiding difficulty. It's training. Every hard moment is building you. Every resistance is sharpening you. Every discomfort is preparing you, but only if you face it, not run from it. That's the difference. Most people escape. You engage. They complain. You execute. They wait. You move. And that gap, it grows daily, until one day, you're unrecognizable. Not physically, mentally, sharper, stronger, unshakable. That's what discipline creates. A mind that doesn't break. A mind that bends pressure. A mind that thrives in chaos. And in a world full of weak minds, that makes you rare. Extremely rare. But rarity comes with responsibility. You can't go back. You can't pretend ignorance. You can't say, "I didn't know." Now you know. So now you act. Or you accept mediocrity. There is no middle. That's the truth. And truth demands a response. So respond. With action. Immediate action. Not later. Now. Because momentum is fragile. You either build it or lose it. And once you lose it, starting again becomes harder. So don't stop. Even when you're tired. Even when you're busy. Even when you don't feel like it. Especially then. That's when it matters most. Because discipline is proven in resistance. Not convenience. Anyone can act when it's easy. Few act when it's hard. Be the few. Because the few control outcomes. They don't hope. They decide. They don't wish. They execute. They don't talk. They build. That's your new standard. Non-negotiable. Unbreakable. Relentless. Marcus Aurelius lived by this. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Stop analyzing. Stop overthinking. Stop planning endlessly. Execute. Because thinking without action is disguised procrastination. And procrastination is self-sabotage. You delay your own growth. You delay your own success. You delay your own transformation. For what? Comfort? Temporary relief? It's not worth it. Because every delay costs you time, energy, opportunity, and those don't come back. So move, even if it's small, even if it's imperfect, even if it's uncomfortable. Movement creates progress. Stillness creates regret. Choose wisely, because the cost of inaction is far greater than the cost of effort. Always. And once you understand that, discipline becomes logical, not emotional. You don't feel your way into action. You think your way into necessity. This must be done. So it will be done. That's it. No debate. No delay. No distraction. Execution. Pure execution. That's how you separate yourself. Not by talent. Not by luck. By discipline. Daily. Consistent. Unforgiving discipline. That's the edge. And once you have it, you don't lose it. Because it becomes who you are. You don't try to be disciplined. You are disciplined. There's a difference. Trying is temporary. Being is permanent. And permanence creates identity. That's the goal. Not short-term effort. Long-term transformation. Complete shift. From who you were to who you are becoming. And that process never ends. Because discipline isn't a phase. It's a lifestyle. A standard. A code. You live by it, or you fall without it. Simple, but not easy. Nothing valuable is easy. That's why it's valuable. And that's why most people never reach it. They quit too early. They fold under pressure. They return to comfort. Don't be most people. Be the exception. Because exceptions change everything. Because your biggest enemy is not outside, it's inside. Your thoughts, your patterns, your habits, that voice that tells you, skip today, rest a little more, you deserve a break. That voice is not you, it's your conditioning, and if you listen to it, you lose, every time, so you must challenge it, constantly, aggressively, without hesitation, because discipline requires confrontation. You confront weakness, you confront laziness, you confront excuses, directly, no avoidance, no delay. That's how you win, not by eliminating resistance, but by overpowering it, again and again, until it fades, until it weakens, until it disappears. And what replaces it? Control, clarity, execution. That's the shift, from chaos to command, from reaction to action, from weakness to strength. That's your evolution, and it's happening now, if you choose it, because choice is everything. You either choose discipline, or you choose regret. There is no third option. So stand up mentally, right now, decide, not wish, not hope, decide that you are done being average, done being inconsistent, done being controlled by comfort. And from this moment forward, you operate differently, you move differently, you think differently, because now you understand the cost, and you refuse to pay it again. That's discipline, that's power, that's dangerous. Now that your mind is shifting, we build the system, because mindset without structure collapses. You'll install a daily system so strong, failure becomes almost impossible. Then prove it, not with words, not with plans, with action, right now, because discipline doesn't start tomorrow. It starts in the next decision you make. You feel resistance already. Good, that's the signal. That's where growth lives, not in comfort, not in ease, in friction. So lean into it. Do the thing you've been avoiding. Immediately, no countdown, no preparation. Move, because hesitation is weakness trying to survive. And if you hesitate, it wins. Again, you've let it win too many times. That ends now. You don't negotiate anymore. You execute, without emotion, without excuse, without delay. That's your new rule. Simple, unbreakable. And rules create structure. Structure creates discipline. Discipline creates identity. That's the chain. Break one, you fall. Protect it, you rise. So protect it, relentlessly, because your environment will try to pull you back. People will distract you. Comfort will seduce you. Old habits will call you. Ignore them. They are not your allies. They are your past. And your past has no authority anymore. You outgrew it. Now act like it. Because growth without action is illusion. You don't grow by thinking. You grow by doing. Again and again. Until it becomes automatic. Until it becomes you. That's the goal. Not temporary discipline. Permanent transformation. You wake up disciplined. You move disciplined. You think disciplined. Everything aligned. Everything intentional. That's dangerous. Because now, there's no off switch. No weak moments. No collapse. Just consistency. Relentless consistency. And consistency compounds. Quietly, daily, powerfully. You won't notice it at first. No applause. No recognition. No immediate reward. Just effort. Repeated effort. That's where most people quit. Because now you're earning your progress. Not wishing for it. Not hoping for it. Earning it. Daily. That creates confidence. Real confidence. Not fake talk. Not temporary hype. But deep certainty. Because you know what you're capable of. Because you proved it. To yourself. That's the only proof that matters. Not opinions. Not validation. Not applause. Just results. And results come from discipline. Always. So stay focused. Protect your time. Guard your energy. Eliminate distractions. Ruthlessly. Because distractions destroy discipline. Slowly. Quietly. Completely. You think it's harmless. Scrolling. Watching. Delaying. It's not. It's erosion of your focus, of your willpower, of your future. So cut it off without hesitation, because discipline requires sacrifice. You can't have everything. You choose growth or you choose comfort. One builds you, the other weakens you every time. So choose carefully, because your choices are building your identity right now, not later, not someday. Now, every action matters. Every decision counts. There are no neutral moves. You're either moving forward or falling back. There is no standing still. That's the reality. And once you accept it, everything becomes clear. You stop wasting time. You stop delaying. You stop pretending. You move directly, decisively, relentlessly. That's the shift. From passive to active. From weak to dangerous. And dangerous doesn't mean aggressive. It means controlled, focused, unstoppable. Because you don't rely on emotion. You rely on discipline. And discipline doesn't fail. People fail. Systems don't. So build your system. Daily actions. Fixed standards. Non-negotiable rules. Wake up, execute. No debate. Work, execute. No distraction. Rest earned. Not default. Everything intentional. Everything controlled. That's structure. That's power. Because now, your day doesn't control you. You control your day. And control creates confidence. Confidence creates presence. Presence creates influence. Without saying a word, people feel it. They notice the difference. Your focus, your discipline, your consistency stands out because it's rare, and rarity attracts attention. But you don't do it for attention. You do it for control, for growth, for mastery. That's the mindset, because mastery is the goal, not average, not temporary improvement. Mastery over yourself, your thoughts, your actions, your habits, complete control. That's the highest level. And it's available, but only through discipline. Nothing else works. Not talent, not luck, not shortcuts, only discipline. Sustained, relentless, unforgiving discipline. That's the path. And it's not easy. It's not supposed to be, because easy doesn't transform you. Hard does. Pressure does. Resistance does. So embrace it. Seek it. Use it. Because everything you avoid controls you, and everything you face strengthens you. That's the law. Simple, but absolute. So face everything. Head on. No fear. No hesitation. Because fear fades with action. Always. You're not afraid of the task. You're afraid of starting. So start. Immediately. And watch how fear disappears. That's how you break it. Through movement. Through action. Through discipline. Again and again. Until fear has no place. Until doubt has no voice. Until weakness has no control. That's when you become dangerous. Not to others. To limitations. To excuses. To anything trying to hold you back. Because now, you don't stop. You don't slow down. You don't quit. You execute. Every day. No exceptions. That's your identity now. Locked in. Solid. Unbreakable. And once it's locked in, everything changes. Your results. Your mindset. Your life. All aligned. All moving forward. Because discipline aligns everything. It removes chaos. It removes confusion. Creates clarity. Direction. Momentum. That's what you've been missing. Not motivation. Not opportunity. Discipline. And now you have it. Or at least, you have the choice. To build it. To live it. To become it. So choose. Right now. Not later. Not tomorrow. Now. Because this moment is where everything shifts. Or everything stays the same. There is no middle. So decide. And then act. Immediately. Without hesitation. Without excuse. Without fear. Because the version of you that hesitates is already gone. And the version of you that acts is taking over. Right now. Step by step. Action by action. Day by day. Until there's no trace of who you used to be. Only discipline. Only control. only power. That's who you are now. You don't just act. You endure. Anyone can start strong. Very few can stay strong. That's where you separate. When energy drops, when results delay, when doubt creeps in, that's the battlefield. And most people lose there, not because they can't continue, but because they won't. They expect ease. They expect quick wins. They expect comfort. Discipline gives none of that. It gives resistance, daily resistance. And if you can't handle that, you go back to comfort, back to excuses, back to mediocrity. So understand this. Endurance is discipline extended. Not for a day, not for a week, for life. Marcus Aurelius lived in constant pressure, war, responsibility, chaos. Yet he wrote calmly, thought clearly, acted decisively. Why? Because he mastered himself, not his environment. That's the principle. External chaos means nothing if internal order is strong. So build internal order, ruthlessly, your thoughts controlled, your actions aligned, your habits structured. No randomness, no drift, just precision. That's how you stay sharp. Because the world will test you. Unexpected problems, sudden pressure, unfair situations. You don't complain. You respond. That's discipline. Epictetus made it clear. It's not what happens to you, but how you react. Read that slowly, because your reaction is your identity in action. Weak identity, emotional reaction. Strong identity, controlled response. That's the difference. So train your response. Daily. Small moments matter. You feel lazy, act anyway. You feel tired, move anyway. You feel distracted, focus anyway. That's training, not theory. Real training. And repetition builds strength. Mental strength. Because discipline is a muscle. Use it, it grows. Ignore it, it weakens. Simple. So use it. Constantly. Push through resistance. Again. And again. And again. Until resistance loses power. Until it becomes normal. That's when you level up. Because now, what used to feel hard, feels standard. And your standard rises. Quietly. Powerfully. Seneca warned, "He who is brave is free." Bravery is not loud. It's not dramatic. It's consistent action despite discomfort. That's real courage. Showing up when you don't want to. Continuing when it's boring. Finishing when it's hard. That's bravery. And bravery creates freedom. Freedom from excuses. Freedom from weakness. Freedom from regret. That's what you're building. Not just discipline. Freedom. But most people reject it. Because freedom requires responsibility. Total responsibility. No blaming. No complaining. No excuses. Just ownership. Of everything. Your time. Your results. Your failures. Everything. That's heavy. But it's powerful. Because when you own everything, you can change anything. That's control. And control is dangerous. Because now, nothing can stop you. Not setbacks. Not delays. Not failure. You adapt. You learn. You continue. That's the mindset. Unbreakable. Unshakable. Relentless. And that's rare. Because most people break early. They hit resistance. And retreat. You don't. You advance. Through it. Not around it. Because there is no shortcut. Only through. Always through. That's the law. So stop looking for easier paths. They don't exist. Only weaker ones. And weaker paths create weaker people. That's not you anymore. You chose difficulty. You chose pressure. You chose discipline. Now live it. Fully. Without hesitation. Without compromise. Because compromise kills discipline. Slowly. You say just this once. Then again. Then again. And suddenly, you're back where you started. That's how it happens. Not in one big failure. In small permissions. So eliminate them. All of them. No exceptions. That's how you protect your standard. Because your standard is your identity. And your identity is everything. Lose that, you lose everything. So guard it. Daily. Relentlessly. like your life depends on it, because it does. Your future depends on it. Your growth depends on it. Your success depends on it. Everything ties back to discipline. Everything. So stop separating it. It's not one part of your life. It is your life. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Lazy in small tasks, you'll be lazy in big ones. Inconsistent in private, you'll fail in public. Undisciplined daily, you'll collapse under pressure. That's reality. So tighten everything. Details matter. Small habits matter. Daily actions matter. Because they stack. They compound. They define you over time. And time reveals truth. Not what you say, not what you plan, what you do. Repeatedly. That's who you are. Nothing else. So choose your actions carefully. Because they're shaping you, right now, into something weak or dangerous. There is no neutral, no middle ground, always one or the other. So choose, again, right now, discipline over comfort, action over delay, execution over excuses. Every time, that's the rule. And rules create consistency. Consistency creates identity. Identity creates power. That's the chain. Lock it in. Never break it, no matter what. Because once you break it, you start negotiating again. And negotiation leads to weakness. Always. So remove it completely. No debate. No discussion. Just action. Immediate action. That's your new instinct. That's your new identity. And once it's fully installed, you become something else. Something rare. Something focused. Something dangerous. Because now, you don't rely on motivation. You don't depend on feelings. You don't wait for the right moment. You create it every day through discipline, through structure, through relentless execution. That's power. Real power, not external, internal. And internal power can't be taken from you. That's why it's dangerous. Because once you have it, you carry it everywhere. In silence, in focus, in action. People will notice. Not because you speak, but because you move differently. Calm, precise, controlled. That's the Stoic edge. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, the impediment to action advances action. Obstacles are not barriers. They are fuel. So use them. Every delay, train patience. Every failure, train resilience. Every challenge, train discipline. That's how you grow. Not by avoiding problems, by using them, transforming them, owning them. That's mastery. And mastery takes time. But time will pass anyway. So you decide, will you grow or stay the same? Will you build or decay? Will you act or regret? The choice is constant, daily, moment by moment. So stay aware, stay sharp, stay disciplined. Because one weak moment can undo progress. That's how fragile it is at the beginning. But as you continue, it strengthens, it stabilizes, it becomes permanent. That's the goal. Permanent discipline, permanent control, permanent growth. And once you reach that, there's no going back. Because you've seen the truth. You've felt the difference. You've built the identity. And identity doesn't disappear. It evolves. It strengthens. It expands. That's your path now. Forward. Always forward. No retreat. No excuses. No weakness. Just discipline. Relentless. Unforgiving. Unstoppable. That's who you are becoming. Right now. This is it. No more explanations. No more theory. No more waiting. You've seen the truth. You've felt the pressure. You know exactly what must change. So now, there's nowhere left to hide. Because once awareness hits, ignorance is a choice. And if you go back after this, that's on you. Not circumstance. Not timing. Not luck. You. That should hit hard. Because deep down, you already know what you've been avoiding. The work. The discipline. The standard. You've seen it. You've felt it. You've delayed it. Enough. This is the line. Cross it, or stay the same. There is no middle. No, I'll try. No, I'll see. No, maybe tomorrow. That language is dead. From this moment forward, you either execute or you accept mediocrity. Fully. No complaints. No frustration. No pretending you want more. Because wanting without action is lying to yourself. And you're done lying, right? Then prove it. Not to me. Not to anyone. To yourself. In silence. In action. In discipline. Because nobody cares what you say. They watch what you do. And more importantly, you watch yourself. Every decision. Every action. Every excuse. You're always observing. And that observation builds identity. So what are you showing yourself? Weakness? Delay? Inconsistency? Or control? Execution? Relentless discipline? Decide. Right now. Because this moment is where your future splits. One path is easy, comfortable, predictable, crowded. That's where most people go. The other path, silent, demanding, lonely, but powerful. That's where discipline lives. That's where transformation happens. That's where you become dangerous. Not to others, to limits, to excuses, to everything that tried to hold you back. And once you step into that, you don't step out. Because now you see clearly. You see wasted time. You see weak patterns. You see distractions for what they are. And you reject them. Without hesitation. Without emotion. That's control. That's power. And that power, it compounds. Day by day. Action by action. Decision by decision. Until one day, you look back and don't recognize who you used to be. No hesitation. No weakness. No excuses. Just discipline. Solid. Sharp. Unbreakable. That's the outcome. But only if you act. Now, not later. Because later is where dreams die. Later is where excuses live. Later is where nothing happens. So forget later. Own now. Control now. Execute now. That's your only window. And it's closing every second. So move. Immediately. Without fear. Without doubt. Without permission. Because you don't need permission anymore. You need action. Relentless action. And if something in you is still resisting, good. That means this is real. That means it matters. That means you're close. Closer than you've ever been. So don't back off now. Push. Harder than before. Because this isn't just another moment. This is the moment. The one where everything shifts. Or everything stays the same. And deep down, you already know what you're going to do. So do it. No announcement. No delay. No looking back. Just move. If you're serious, prove it. Subscribe. Not for motivation. For pressure. Because this channel won't comfort you. It will challenge you. It will expose you. It will force you to grow. Or force you to leave. There's no middle here either. So choose again. Stay weak. Or become dangerous. Stay comfortable. Or build discipline. Stay the same. Or transform completely. One decision. Right now. Make it count. If this message stayed with you, even a little, take a quiet second. Tap like so it can reach someone else who might need it today. Share it if there's someone on your mind right now. And in the comments, leave a simple line. I'm working on it. No pressure. No noise. Just a small step in the right direction.